I hope you all are fine and doing well. So today we are going to start an important topic in the sterilization series, that is the evaluation of efficiency of the sterilization method. This is your syllabus, that is unit number 2. And the reason I'm showing you the syllabus is that because after studying the syllabus I have found that some of the topics that is covered under unit number 2 are also related to the unit number 3. Suppose you can see we have completed this topic, that is the study and procedures, merit, demerits and application of various sterilization methods like physical, chemical, radiation, mechanical, etc. And in unit number 3, there is a topic of the sterility testing of different pharmaceutical products. And yes, of course, the classification and mode of disinfectants and the factor affecting disinfection. And we have covered this topic of disinfection somewhat in the sterilization part in the chemical method of the disinfection. So what we will do, we will cover these topics, that is the sterility testing and the factor affecting disinfection and antiseptic evaluation in this topic, that is the evaluation of efficiency of the sterilization methods. Okay, so we are going to cover this topic along with these topics like sterility testing and the disinfectant. Okay, so I hope this is clear now. So we will start the sterilization method, that is the evaluation of the efficiency of the sterilization methods, in the next video. So thank you for your patience and listening. See you in the part 2 video. I hope you all are fine and doing well. So today we are going to start an important topic in the sterilization series, that is the evaluation of the efficiency of different sterilization process. And I hope you have now familiar with different type of sterilization methods. Just recall a bit. So these are the methods like physical, chemical and physiochemical methods, and we also included the mechanical method in the physical methods also. Okay, and in physical methods we are done two major important methods like moist heat sterilization and the dry heat sterilization. Yes, in chemical methods we have came across with different chemicals like alcohol, phenols, quaternary ammonium compounds, halogen gases, of course ethylene oxide, formaldehyde, etc. And these are the combination of these two methods. Okay, so we will start the evaluation of the efficiency of the sterilization process, or you can say sterilization methods. So basically we will divide this topic into several parts. In part 1 we will do the evaluation of the efficiency of the sterilization methods, that is about the physical, chemical and the physicochemical. And in between, in out of these three methods we will focus upon the chemical methods. Why? Because the chemical methods are also mentioned in our unit number 2. Look at this. So this is the as factor affecting disinfection. So we know disinfection or the disinfectant we have covered in the chemical methods. So let's start. So first one is the, let's discuss about some of the chemical methods that we have already covered. And in chemical methods we have covered different type of disinfectants, and we all know disinfectant is nothing but a substance that prevent infection by killing microorganisms, and these cannot be applied to the skin, so they apply to the inanimate objects, or you can say lifeless objects. And we have also covered the some of the examples of the disinfectants in this way. We have covered the chemical disinfectants like alcohols, then chlorhexidine, aldehyde gases, yes, quartz, that is quaternary ammonium compound, surface active agent, phenol and phenolics. This is the most important. Okay, so far we have covered this point. So the liquid disinfectants, they are generally evaluated by suspension test. So first of all, question arises why there is need to evaluate the efficiency or the efficacy of the disinfectants, or you can say antiseptic. So there is a simple question, there is a simple answer behind it. Currently nowadays we are using sanitizers, hand sanitizers, and we apply directly to the hand sanitizer directly to the skin. So yes, there is a question arises: are these sanitizers are efficacious enough, or they contain the main bactericidal compound in a requisite quantity that they will kill or static the growth of microorganism? And if not, so they are worthless. They might cause some serious side effects. And the concentration, if they have higher concentration, suppose if you are using a hand sanitizer that contains 80 to 90% of alcohol, and sometimes what people do in industry, sometimes they use methanol, and when you rub that methanol based hand sanitizer and accidentally you put your hand in your eyes, so it might cause blindness. Yes, I am serious, because methanol is one of the causative agent for causing the blindness. So we should always restrict the use of these sanitizers, because they contain the corrosive alcohol. We know, yes, alcohol is bactericidal, bacteriostatic, yes, of course, but we have to limit its use. We cannot do hand sanitizer after 5 minutes or after 10 minutes or after 1 hour. We will do sanitization only when it is required. Otherwise you can go for the soap based method of cleaning your hands. So yes, we need to evaluate the efficacy of the disinfectants, we need to evaluate the potency of this sanitizer, etc, etc. So how it is possible? So far we will focus upon the disinfectants. The liquid disinfectants, they are generally evaluated by suspension tests, and these suspension tests are particularly based upon the phenol coefficient value. Okay, these suspension tests are based upon the phenol coefficient value. So let's see this. Suspension tests are essentially tests for the sterility, okay, upon bacterial suspension that is performed after treatment with disinfectant for a prescribed time under the controlled condition. So we will do this test under the particular conditions. So these suspension tests are either phenol type or dilution test. And in phenol type, we will do two tests. That is the Riddle-Walker, that is by the name of the scientist or scholar who created this test, who basically invented this step. Riddle-Walker and Chick-Martin. So we will do two tests, that Riddle-Walker test and Chick-Martin test in evaluation of disinfectant under the heading of the phenol coefficient type. And there is another test, that is the dilution test. Okay, and we will use phenol as a standard here. Look at this. Phenol is an established disinfectant, and the effectiveness of any antiseptic or disinfectant is evaluated against this standard chemical, that is the phenol, because we have already covered this point, that is phenol is used as a disinfectant. So we will use phenol as a standard here. Okay, in Riddle-Walker test and in Chick-Martin test, we will use phenol as a standard, and we will calculate phenol coefficient. So thank you for your patience and listening. We will do this test, that is the Riddle-Walker test, in the next video. Thank you. I welcome you all in the part 3 video of the evaluation of efficiency of sterilization methods, and we have started the chemical methods. So let's start the Riddle-Walker test. So Riddle-Walker coefficient, it is nothing but it is a measure of effectiveness of an antiseptic or disinfectant as compared to the phenol, because we have covered in the previous video that we will consider phenol as a standard compound. So we will compare our disinfectant. Suppose you have prepared antiseptic in your laboratory, or you have prepared disinfectant in your lab, and you have to compare, you have to measure its effectiveness. What you will do, you will compare it with the phenol. How? Let's see the procedure. So Riddle-Walker coefficient is a measure of effectiveness of an antiseptic or disinfectant as comparison to phenol. And if you can say higher than 1 Riddle-Walker coefficient indicates that the chemical is more effective than phenol, whereas lower than 1 Riddle-Walker coefficient indicate that poor disinfection power in comparison to phenol, because we are using phenol as a standard. Yeah, so question arises, what we need for the evaluation of the efficacy of the disinfectants or antiseptic? We need a particular condition. Yes, we need a microorganisms. We have to see whether the disinfectant is able to kill microorganisms or not. So we need a particular type of this strain of the microorganism. So we have to culture them. We have to culture the microorganism. We have to prepare the culture media. We have to require all the sterilization equipments, all the methods, all the procedures, all the incubators. So let's see. So in Riddle-Walker test, we will take an organism that is a microorganism suspension, that is a Salmonella typhi, and we will maintain temperature that is up to 20 degrees Celsius. And we can do the subculturing at different time intervals like 2.5, 5, 7.5 and 10 minutes. Don't worry, we will do them in detail. So just see here 2.5, 5, 7.5 and 10 minutes. And the plates are incubated, that is the microbial plates are incubated at a particular temperature, that is 37 degrees Celsius, for at least 48 to 72 hours. And we will observe the growth. So what we will do, first of all, we have to take a phenol, because we have to use a phenol as a standard. But the phenol we are using, we have to make a dilution of the phenol as well as the test disinfectant. Suppose you have prepared disinfectant in your laboratory. So the disinfectant that you have prepared in the laboratory, you have to dilute it for this particular test, that is the Riddle-Walker test. So suppose phenol is diluted to 1:400 to 1:800 times. Okay, and the test infectant is diluted to 1:95 to 1:115. Suppose you are diluting with water and you have taken 1 ml of your phenol, and how much water will you use? You will use 400. Simple sense. Okay, in the same way. And of course, their bactericidal activity is determined against which microorganism? Yes, Salmonella typhi suspension. That's why these are the suspension methods. And the subcultures are performed from the broth. Okay, at different time intervals like 2.5, 5, 7.5 and 10 minutes. Yes, of course, the plates are incubated at 48 to 72 hours at 37 degrees Celsius. Next, see how we will calculate the Riddle-Walker coefficient. The dilution of the disinfectant, okay, the dilution of your test disinfectant, which disinfect the suspension. Suspension of what? Suspension of Salmonella typhi, means suspension of the microorganism. So see again, the dilution of this is the dilution of the disinfectant, okay, the dilution of the disinfectant that disinfects, or you can say that kills the suspension, or you can say microorganisms in a given time, is divided by that dilution of the phenol which disinfect the suspension in the same time, and that will gives the value of the phenol coefficient. Okay, so very simple. So what you will do, first of all, you need a phenol, that is user standard. Second thing, you need a disinfectant that you have prepared, or the test disinfectant. Third thing, you need the bacteria upon which you will test your disinfectant. And most important thing, you need different conditions. And for this bacteria, for growing of this bacteria, we have different culture conditions like 37 degrees Celsius for at least 48 to 72 hours. So first of all, you will prepare a dilution of your standard, and your test disinfectant, you will prepare a dilution. And you will calculate the bactericidal activity with this microorganism. Okay, and you will do the subculturing at different time intervals like 2.5, 5, 7.5 and 10 minutes. Okay, and you will calculate the Riddle-Walker coefficient. So see again what we need. Yes, we need phenol as a standard. We need the test disinfectant. Of course, we need the microorganism upon which we have to see the efficacy of our disinfectant. In this case, in Riddle-Walker test, we use Salmonella typhi, and we need, of course, different temperature and the time conditions. Please see this table. The determination of the Riddle-Walker coefficient. How you will calculate the Riddle-Walker coefficient? First of all, see, this is your time of exposure in minutes. 2.5 minutes, 5 minutes, 7.5 and 10 minutes. Okay, this positive sign means growth. Okay, that the bacteria is present. Yes, it will give growth, whereas the negative sign indicates no growth. And here you can use phenol as a control. Here is a disinfectant. You will use phenol as a standard, as a control, and this is a disinfectant that is unknown that you have prepared, suppose, in your laboratory. Yes, of course, we need a dilution, and for disinfectant, for the phenol, dilution is used 1:100, suppose. And suppose you have used different dilutions like 1:1000 1100, 1200 and 1300. Okay, so you have prepared 1, 2, 3, 4 dilutions of your unknown, or you can say test disinfectant, and here you will take a standard dilution of 1:100 of phenol. Now see this. So when you apply this dilution in your particular sample of the containing the microorganism suspension, at 2.5 minutes the bacteria will again, it will not die, it will sustain, it will grow. And again after 5 minutes, again no effect on bacteria. But just see this, but when the time of exposure is 7.5 minutes, the bacteria dies and it indicates no growth. And of course in 10 minutes there will be no growth because the bacteria will die here. Again see here, you will prepare a dilution of your test disinfectant. Suppose you will take a phenol, and when you added your dilution in a particular culture media containing the suspension of the Salmonella typhi, and you will note it down the time at 2.5 minutes. What you will see that bacteria remains sustained. It do not kill, it will grow. Okay, it indicates the growth. But when the exposure time exceeds to 7.5 minutes, the bacteria, that is the Salmonella typhi, dies. Okay, same in case of your unknown sample. Just see this. When you prepare a dilution of 1:1000, what will happen? The bacteria will die at even 2.5 minute exposure time, and it indicates no growth. Whereas when you will again increase the dilution, okay, when you increase the dilution, means the concentration of a disinfectant will get decreases to 1100. Again bacteria will grow at 2.5, but again it will die from 5 minutes onward. Again 1200, bacteria will grow. When you again diluted your suspension or your disinfectant, the bacteria will grow here, that is at 2.5 exposure time, and it will grow again in 5 minutes. But after 7 minutes, 7.5 minutes, it will start to die or show no growth. Again 1:1300, the bacteria will die at 7.5 minutes. So how will you calculate Riedel-Walker coefficient? It is the dilution of the unknown which kill in 7.5 but not in 5 minutes, upon the dilution of phenol which kill in 5 but not in 7.5 but not in 5 minutes. So particularly this means which dilution you will select. You will select that dilution that will show same effect as the phenol. So that is 1200. Just see this, plus minus. Again this is the first dilution, you will take it. Okay, then plus minus. So again Riedel-Walker coefficient is equal to, that is 1200 upon 100, that is 12. So these are the reference I have used. So see you in the part 2 video. I will again discuss this table in the next part of this Riedel-Walker test. I welcome you all in the part 4 video of the evaluation of the efficiency of the sterilization methods, and we have covered the Riedel-Walker test. Okay, so we will discuss this table again in this video, and we know for Riedel-Walker test we again need these things. We need phenol as a standard compound, as a standard marker disinfectant, and we need the test disinfectant for which we have to calculate our disinfection, or we can say the efficiency. Then of course in Riedel-Walker test what we use Salmonella typhi. Okay, and of course we have different temperature and time condition. So let's see again. So Riedel-Walker coefficient, we have different time of exposure, that is 2.5 minute, 5 minutes, 7.5 and 10 minutes. But what will we do? First of all, we will take a microorganism and we will culture it and prepare a suspension. And the disinfectant that we use as a standard is phenol. And what we will do, we will take dilutions of our disinfectant that we have prepared and as well as of phenol. Suppose in this case, in this table, that is the phenol, it is diluted with the dilution is made 1:100 times. Whereas suppose this is your test disinfectant, it is diluted in this way, that is 1:1000, 1100, 1200, 1300, etc. Okay, and what we will do, we will add this dilution in the culture media containing the Salmonella typhi bacteria. Okay, we will what we will do, we will add this dilution in the culture media that contain this microorganism, because we have to test the efficiency of the disinfectant. So when we will add this dilution to our suspension, and we will take note down the time at is 2.5 minutes, it shows yes, bacteria, it shows no effect on the bacteria will grow. Again after 5 minutes bacteria will sustain, it will grow again. But when the time of exposure exceeds to 7.5 minutes, the bacteria starts dying, it show no growth. In the same way, in the unknown samples, or you can say the test disinfection, we will select that particular dilution that matches with our standard. Suppose in first case 1:1000 dilution of test or unknown disinfectant, when the exposure time is 2.5 minutes, see what happened, the bacteria die. Means we have to dilute this sample, we have to dilute this disinfectant. So what we will do, we will increase the dilution, that is to 1100, and the concentration of the disinfectant in this dilution is decreases. We again see the results. Then yes, bacteria will grow at 2.5 minutes, but again after 5 minutes bacteria starts dying. So it does not matches with this result. So we will again dilute this suspension with the particular diluent. Okay, so the concentration of this disinfectant in this dilution is decreases. So what will happen? Let's see. After 2.5 minutes, the bacteria will again grow. Again after 5 minutes it grow, but it start deteriorating. It start showing no growth at 7.5. That matches with our the standard one. So we will take this dilution as a marker compound, as a in our results as a Riedel-Walker coefficient. So what is Riedel-Walker coefficient? It is a dilution of the unknown, or you can say the test disinfectant which kill microorganism. We will select this time, that is which kill in 7.5 minutes, equal this 1200, which kills in, because here is no growth, which kills in 7.5 minutes, but not in 5 minutes, because in 5 minutes bacteria will remain sustained. Okay, divided by the dilution of the phenol, here it is, which kill in 7.5 minutes but not in 5 minutes. So here Riedel-Walker coefficient is equal to 1200 dilution upon the 100 is equal to 12. So here it is the value of your Riedel-Walker coefficient. So yes, there are some drawbacks of this test, that is the Riedel-Walker test for the determination of the disinfectants, of the liquid disinfectant most probably. That test is performed in the laboratory condition rather than the real life situation, because we have to create each and every environment. And what are the temperature condition? We have covered it. We require different temperature condition and different time conditions. Okay. Next, factors such as the tissue toxicity and the presence of the organic matter may change variation in the results. And sometimes the microorganism Salmonella typhi may not be appropriate, and the time allowed for disinfection is very short, because we have covered this time allowed, that is the only 2.5 minutes to 10 minutes. And it is only used to evaluate phenolic type of disinfectant, because here we use as phenol as a standard compound, as a standard disinfectant. So here phenol coefficient of some of the common antiseptics and disinfectants are given. Look at this. So here the value of phenol is taken as 1. Okay, and we will see, suppose just like formalin, so it is active against this. For this microorganism, it has a phenol coefficient value of 0.7. But again formalin, for this microorganism, it has a coefficient value, that is a phenol coefficient value 0.3. So it varies upon the microorganism to microorganism. Okay, suppose in case of ethyl alcohol, so it has a very high, again very high phenol coefficient in comparison to phenol for Salmonella typhi. So this is all about the Riedel-Walker test. So I hope this is clear now. So we will do the next test in the next video. Thank you for your patience and listening. In the last, I acknowledge all the sources I have used to prepare this video. So this video is only for the education purpose and no commercialization is involved in this video. Thank you for your patience. I welcome you all in the part 5 video of the evaluation of the efficiency of the sterilization method, and we have covered the Riedel-Walker test. In this video, we are going to see this table again of the Riedel-Walker test. Okay, so let's see this table. So because in Riedel-Walker test we need two things, that is our test disinfectant, and we'll compare it with the phenol, and we will prepare different dilution. And here it is clearly given that different dilution of the phenol are prepared like in this way: 1:95, 100, 105, 110 and 115. Okay, and the test disinfectant dilutions are prepared in this way, that is 1:400. Then we will again dilution up to 800. So what does this dilution infer? It means that the concentration of this test disinfectant in 1:400 is quite high as comparison to 1:800, because we have diluted this mixture. Okay, we have diluted this disinfectant. In the same way, when the phenol is present, suppose phenol you have taken 1:95. You have taken 1 ml phenol and 95 ml of water is added, suppose. And in this case, you have taken 1 ml phenol and 115 ml of water is added. So the concentration of phenol in this is quite low. Okay, because you have increased the diluent. So see what happened. So in Riedel-Walker test, we have different time ranges. That is the 2.5 to 10 minutes, 2.5, 5 minutes, 7.5, 10 minutes. Here Ng means no growth of the microorganism and G means growth. So what we will do, first of all we will need a microorganism, and in this case we will using Salmonella typhi. So first of all we will culture the bacteria in a particular condition. We will give the culture media, which will give all the nutrient conditions, all the temperature condition that is required for the cultivation of this Salmonella typhi. Okay, and we will prepare the suspension of this bacteria. And what we will do, we will start adding our dilution into that culture media, and we will see the results that bacterial growth is okay or not, bacteria is killed or not at a particular time condition, that is 2.5 to 10 minutes. So see this. So first of all, when we take test disinfectant and dilution is 1:400. Look at this, as 2.5 it start killing the microorganism, that is the Salmonella typhi, and shows no growth. The microorganism will die here. Okay, so what we will do, we will again dilute our this test disinfectant. So we will increase the dilution, that is 1:500. Then again we will start at different time conditions. So again you will see growth here. Yes, it will sustain, but at 5-minute interval it will show again no growth. The bacteria will die at 5 minutes. Bacteria is killed at 5 minutes, but not at 2.5 minutes. Again 600, look at this 600 value. Again the bacteria will sustain, that is 2.5 minutes, and 5 minutes it will again grow, but 7.5 and 10 minutes, after 5 minutes it start deteriorating, or you can say it is killed after 5 minutes and killed in 7.5 minutes. And we will compare this test disinfectant with phenol value. Okay, just see the value of phenol at 1:100. But it shows the bacteria will grow at 2.5, but it will start deteriorating at 7.5 minutes. Okay, so we will select this value because this value is clearly matches with this value, that is the growth, no growth, then the growth, no growth. Okay, so this is the what will happen. See this, after 7.5 minutes the test organism was killed by test disinfectant. Let's see this line. After 7.5 minutes, yes, the test organism, that is the Salmonella typhi, was killed by the test disinfectant. Let's see it is right or not. Yes, after 7.5 minutes the test disinfectant was killed by the what disinfectant? Okay, at a dilution of 1:600. Yes, in the same period the test organism was killed by phenol at a dilution of 1:100. Let's see. Yes, time is 7.5 minutes, dilution is 1:100 of phenol. What does it infer? It infer nothing but the phenol coefficient is equal to, now we will take the test dilution, that is 600, upon the standard one, that is the 6. And what does 6 mean? This indicates that the test disinfectant, that is here test disinfectant, can be diluted 6 times as much as phenol, okay, and still possess equivalent killing power of the test organism. So this is the phenol coefficient value, or you can say the Riedel-Walker coefficient. So in this way we can calculate the phenol coefficient value in the Riedel-Walker test. So I hope this is clear. So for this video I am again using the very important notes of Dr. Sridhar Rao PN, that is from www.microrao.com. So I found these notes very useful, that's why I am using this. And we have also used a book that is by Dr. N.K. Jain. So we have completed this topic from this book also. So you can find, because I have mailed you the book also, you can find the Riedel-Walker test in this book also. Thank you for your patience and listening. So we will do the Chick-Martin test in the next video. I welcome you all in the part 6 video of the evaluation of sterilization methods. In this video we are going to cover a most important method, that is the Chick-Martin test. So let's see this Chick-Martin test. So I hope you have covered the Riedel-Walker test. So I request you, do not watch this video directly. Please go by all the 5 parts. Then watch this video, only then you will be able to understand, otherwise you will gain nothing. So the Chick-Martin test is used to determine the phenol coefficient like Riedel-Walker test. But in Riedel-Walker test, all the test is carried out in water, whereas in Chick-Martin test, the disinfectants are made to act in the presence of yeast, or we can also use dried human feces. Why they are used? Because to stimulate the presence of the organic matter. And the time is again for the subculture is 30 minutes. Whereas in the Riedel-Walker test, look at this, the time is very short, that is 2.5 to 10 minutes. Whereas in Chick-Martin test, where it is written, time is 30 minutes. And the organism to be tested in the Chick-Martin test is the Salmonella typhi, as well as, look at this, another one, that is the Staphylococcus aureus. But in Riedel-Walker test, we only use the Salmonella typhi suspension. But in the Chick-Martin test, yes, look at this, we are using both Salmonella typhi and the Staphylococcus aureus. And the sampling time in the Riedel-Walker test is 2.5 to 10 minutes, whereas it is quite lengthier than the Riedel-Walker time, that is up to 30 minutes. Okay, the reduction temperature, that is the temperature range, the Riedel-Walker test is 17.5 to plus minus 0.5, whereas the Chick-Martin test, which again increases up to 30 degrees Celsius. In volume of the media in the Riedel-Walker test, we use 5 ml, whereas in the Chick-Martin we are using the 10 ml. And the diluent for the test in case of the Riedel-Walker is the distilled water, whereas in the Chick-Martin test we are using water with the yeast suspension or the ficus for the organic matter. Okay, so let's see. So first of all, see the disadvantage of the Riedel-Walker. No organic matter included, but in Chick-Martin test we use organic matter. So look at this, in Chick-Martin test, the phenol coefficient test is conducted in the laboratory, and that disinfectants were required to act in the presence of organic matter. And they were pointed out by the 2 scholars, that is Chick and the Martin, in 1908. And they recommend to use of the dried human feces that should be added in the test media. And later the scientist, that is the Garrod, suggested the use of the yeast as a substitute. Okay, and this test is conducted by inoculating Salmonella typhi as well as the Staphylococcus aureus. And the contact period of this organism with the disinfectant is increased up to 30 minutes at 20 degrees Celsius. Okay, and the subculture tubes are incubated at 48 hours at 37 degrees Celsius. Okay, see again. So this Chick-Martin test is conducted by inoculating Salmonella typhi. Suppose we are using this into solution, okay, into the solution containing the concentration of the test substance or the phenol. So what we will do, we will again prepare a particular suspension of the Salmonella typhi, and in the suspension we will add again this suspension is added in the concentration, a particular dilution of the test substance, or you can say a disinfectant. And the contact period, that is the contact between this microorganism and the disinfectant, is 30 minutes at a particular temperature, that is 20 degrees Celsius. And we will do the subculturing, that should be incubated at 37 degrees Celsius for 48 hours. And we will observe the growth, that microorganism is present or not, that growth is observed or not. Okay, like in case of Riddle-Walker test. And the concentration of phenol which prevent the growth in both is determined, and the mean value is calculated. Okay, and the similar value is observed for the your unknown or the test disinfectant. And in the same way, the coefficient is calculated by dividing the value found for phenol by the value found for the unknown. See again, in Chick-Martin test we are using Salmonella typhi and Staphylococcus aureus. Sampling time 30 minutes, and the calculation of the coefficient, look at this. So mean concentration of the phenol showing no growth after 30 minutes, because we are using the timer 30 minutes, divided by the test disinfectant. Okay, so I think you have a now brief idea about the Chick-Martin test. So we will do the next test in the next video. Thank you for your patience and listening. So these are the references I have used for preparation of this video. I welcome you all in the part 7 video of the evaluation of the efficiency of the sterilization method. And so far we have covered the chemical methods evaluation, that is the Chick-Martin and the Riddle-Walker test. So the next test we are going to perform, or we are going to see, is use dilution methods. As the name indicates, use dilution. How much dilution should be used? So let's see this. The disinfectants are actually used in diluted form, yes, we know. And the dilution in which a disinfectant must be used can be determined by this test, that is the use dilution test. And there are some standards. The current standard is prescribed by AOAC. This is very important. So this is American Official Analytical Chemist. So basically this is the organization, or you can say the platform. So these have mentioned different guidelines related to the dilution of the disinfectants. So this, the current standard is prescribed by AOAC, and they mentioned about the 3 strains of bacteria, that is Staphylococcus aureus, then Salmonella choleraeus, Pseudomonas aeruginosa. And they have also mentioned that standardized culture of the test organisms are grown in liquid media. Okay, and they must be standardized and particularly are dipped and removed, and they are dried at 37 degrees Celsius for short time. The dried cultures then placed in a solution of disinfectant at a particular concentration and left for 10 minutes for 20 degrees Celsius. And you will calculate the survival time, or you can say the survival of the microorganism. And the used dilution test is commonly used to determine the chemical disinfection of an inanimate surface. And for this test, see this is very simple. For this test, a cylinder of this stainless steel is taken, okay, and is dipped in a culture of the targeted microorganism. Okay, then this cylinder is dipped in the solution of disinfectant. First of all, microorganisms are trapped by this stainless steel cylinder of the stainless steel. Then this cylinder is dipped in the solution of the disinfectant at different concentration at a different time condition, no doubt. And finally, basically this will give just an overview of this test. Okay, that's why I'm showing you. Finally, this cylinder is transferred to new test tube that contain the particular sterile medium and does not contain any disinfectant. And we will basically, the test tube is incubated, it's cultured, and bacterial survival is demonstrated by the presence of turbidity in the medium. And whereas the killing of the target organism on the cylinder by disinfectant will produce no turbidity, so we will observe the turbidity of this particular cylinder. We can say particular medium. See again the AOAC use dilution test, that is the American Association of Official Analytical Chemists. So in this, different type of organisms are used. We have already covered this, that is Staphylococcus, Pseudomonas aeruginosa and Salmonella chlorisis. Then we have used carriers like stainless steel cylinders in this way. Okay, and first of all, they are clean, sterilized, cooled and inoculated with the test organism. The first step is the inoculation. We will inoculate these microorganisms in a particular type of these stainless steel cylinders. Then the cylinders are drained on the filter paper and they are basically dried at a particular time or the temperature. Then what happen? And they are exposed to the disinfectant solution. So first of all, microorganisms are inoculated and they are exposed to the disinfectant solution for at least 10 minutes. Then after the transfer of disinfectant, the treated test surface are incubated in a particular condition. Okay, and the number of tube showing the growth, or you can say the turbidity of the microorganism is recorded. This is as per AOAC, that is the American Association of Official Analytical Chemists. This test is given, that is the use dilution test. See this again. So use dilution test is useful for determining the ability of the disinfectants to kill microorganisms and dried on a typical clinical surface, or you can say stainless steel. So for this, different metal cylinders are used and they are dipped into broth cultures of bacteria and dried. So first of all, a particular surface, you can say metal cylinder is taken and it is dipped into the broth culture which constitute the bacteria and it was dried. Then this contaminated means the cylinder which contain microorganisms are immersed into the disinfectant solution and that should be diluted for a particular time, that is 10 minutes. And then the cylinders are removed and again it immersed into the, then washed and placed into the media. A particular culture media is used for at least 48 hours. And the most effective agent entirely prevents the growth at highest dilution. Then the results are recorded, that is the number of tubes showing the growth of the target microorganism is recorded. So that is about this, the use dilution test, that is by the American Official Analyst Chemists, because the standard are prescribed by this organization. Okay, so use the 3 microorganism and the very simple test is performed. So these are the references I have used to prepare this video. Thank you for your patience and time. See you in the next video. I welcome you all in the evaluation of efficiency of the sterilization methods. This is part 8 video. So in this test we are going to see an important test, that is for the disinfectant, that is for the evaluation of the efficiency of the disinfectant, that is the in-use test. Previously we have completed the use dilution test, we have completed Riedel-Walker test, then Chick-Martin test. So particularly in this, that is the in-use test, this test can determine whether, so this test is applicable, you can see here, for hospitals and laboratories to detect contamination of disinfectants. Okay, so this is important, contamination of disinfectants. See this again, this test can determine whether an actively used solution of disinfectant, whether an disinfectants is microbially contaminated or not. So it has a simple procedure. First of all, we will take 1 ml of the sample of the disinfectant and it should be diluted with the 9 ml of the sterile broth media. And that media should contain a compound to inactivate the disinfectant. See this diagram? This is the used disinfectant. So it should be added in 9 ml of sterile broth, this is sterile media with disinfectant inactivator. So it contains a special compound that will inactivate the disinfectant. Now next procedure is to see this. First step is to 1 ml of this disinfectant solution. Again, it is added with 9 ml of sterile broth which contain disinfectant inactivator. Okay. So after this, 10 drops, that is approximately 0.2 ml of this mixture that contain disinfectant and this disinfectant inactivator, okay, are inoculated onto two agar plates. So these are the two agar plates, and the one plate is incubated at 37 degrees Celsius for 3 days and the other is incubated at room temperature for 7 days. See again, this is the used disinfectant. It should be tested here. 1 ml of this disinfectant is added with 9 ml of disinfectant inactivator with a sterile media or the broth. Okay, then this, out of this mixture, we will take into two agar plates. These plates containing agar, that is a solidifying media. So we place 10 drops onto each of two agar plates. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 9, 10. Again, one plate, this is second plate. So this plate is incubated at 37 degrees Celsius for 3 days, whereas this agar plate is incubated for 7 days at the room temperature. And of course, the plates are monitored for growth of the microbial colonies, whether they contain microbes or not. So the growth of 5 or more colonies on each plate suggests that the living or the viable microbial cell existed in the disinfectant solution and our disinfectant is contaminated. See, this growth of at least 5 plus colonies on either of the plate indicate that our disinfectant solution is contaminated. So these type of in-use tests can monitor the effectiveness of disinfectants in clinical setting. Please see again. So it is used to disinfect contamination. Okay, contamination of disinfectants. So 1 ml of disinfectant is added in 9 ml of the solution containing an disinfectant inactivator. Then we will take a 10 drops into two nutrient agar plates, and the one plate is incubated 37 degrees Celsius for 3 days and other plate is incubated for 7 days at normal temperature. Then if 5 or more colonies appear on plate, it indicate that the contamination, disinfectant is contaminated. See again. So in-use test is a simple test described by Morner in 1985. It can be used in hospitals and laboratories to detect contamination of disinfectants. Again, in this test, 1 ml of sample of disinfectant is added to the 9 ml diluent, which also contain an activator. Then 10 drops, that means amounting to 0.02 ml of the diluted sample, are placed on two nutrient agar plates. And the one plate is incubated at 37 degrees Celsius for 3 days, whereas the other plate is incubated for at least 7 days at the ordinary, or you can say the room temperature. If 5 or more colonies appear on the plate, that indicates the contamination. So I hope this is clear. These are the references I have used. Please recall all your knowledge. See this diagram again of the in-use test for the disinfectant, testing of the effectiveness of the disinfectant. So I acknowledge all the sources that I have used to prepare this video. So do not share this content in any electronic platform. Okay, see you in the next video in the next part. I welcome you all in the next part of the evaluation of the efficiency of the sterilization method. So far we have covered different evaluation methods for the sterilization methods, that is the chemical disinfection. And in continuation to the chemical disinfection, in this video we are going to cover a very important method for the chemical disinfection, that is disc diffusion method. So this is the part 9 video in this category. Just read this. In this method involves applying different chemicals to separate or sterile filter paper discs, and the discs are then placed on an agar plate that has been inoculated with the target bacterium, and the chemical diffused out of the disc into agar plate where the bacteria have been inoculated. So this method, that is the disc diffusion method, is used to assess the effectiveness of disinfectants and antiseptics against the selected organisms. And the principle involved is that particularly disinfectant or the antiseptic that you have examined or evaluated will inhibit the growth of microorganism on the agar plate, and it will form a zone of inhibition. Just see the meaning of zone of inhibition. So it is a circular area around the spot of an antibiotic. So this is the zone of inhibition with respect to the antibiotic. Okay, because you know antibiotic can active against different type of microorganism. So what they will do, they will create a circular area or the spot in which the bacteria colony do not grow. Just see the images of zone of inhibition. What does it look like? Just see this. So this is the zone of inhibition. Here it is. Disc with antibiotic. So these are the various type of zones appears against different type of microorganisms. You see this plate? This is your growth, and this is antimicrobial disc. And look at this. This is white portion. This is your zone of inhibition where you will find the no growth. And what is this? This is the antimicrobial disc. See in the real petri dish, this is your disc, this antimicrobial disc, and this is your zone of inhibition appears. So you will, with the help of this scale, you can see this is a scale. With the help of this scale or the ruler, you can able to calculate this the distance between the zone of inhibition also, and that should be in the millimeters. So suppose we have taken different microorganisms. In this case, suppose E. coli, Staphylococcus aureus, Pseudomonas aeruginosa, and Bacillus subtilis. And let's see the effectiveness of our disinfectant against this type of microorganisms. So first of all, we will prepare inoculum of these bacteria. Okay, that is called as a standardized inoculum. So in the next step, we have to plate this agar plate. We have to make this agar plate with this trick plating. So I hope we have covered this trick plate methods also. We will do the vertical and horizontal streaking, lakire of microorganism. So what we will do, we will add a cotton swab. So this is the loop that is containing the cotton swab, and with the help of this we will apply the streaking. See this cotton swab added in the bacterial inoculum solution, and this in this way we are doing the streaking, okay, in the agar plate. And we have taken different type of disinfectants like tincture of iodine, H2O2, ethanol, and chlorine bleach. And what is the next important step? We will take a disc. So these are commercially available discs. So what we will do, we will puncture disc from different color. We will mark the disc with a different color also, so as they will indicate in the results. Okay, for example, this disc is for the iodine, this is for H2O2, this is for ethanol, and this is black for the chlorine. Then we will put the disc in this disinfectant solution. Then we take out the disc after particular time and put in the sterile tissue paper, and then after that into the agar plate. Then we have to apply discs onto this main plate, and we have to place our disc at a particular distance, that is about 20 millimeter. So see here, suppose this is the E. coli plate. This is the agar plate that contain E. coli inoculum. So what we will do next, we will put our disc. After putting of the disc, we will incubate at a particular temperature, that is 35 to 37 degrees Celsius for 24 to 48 hours. So that what will happen, this is the agar media containing this inoculum or bacteria, and our disc are already immersed in a solution of disinfectant. So what will be the next procedure? Yes, the zone of inhibition will appear. So in this way, the zones of inhibition appeared, and we will measure them. So just see this, the zone of inhibition, that is, this is the zone of inhibition of microbial growth, are observed around the discs this way. Okay, this is a zone of inhibition where there no growth of this bacteria. Okay, and this is our antimicrobial disc, or you can say disinfectant disc, because we have submerged in different type of disinfectant to measure their efficacy. Say this, larger zones typically correlate to increased inhibition, or we can say the effectiveness of the disinfectant, so that we will measure with the help of ruler, or we can also use vernier calipers for that, and it will measure is in the millimeters. So this is about your disc diffusion method. I hope you have cleared the concept of zone of inhibition also. So first of all, I acknowledge this YouTube video that I have used to prepare this video. These are the references of this video. This is the channel, and these are the other references. So I acknowledge all the sources that I have used. So see you in the next video. I welcome you all in the next video in the evaluation of efficiency of the sterilization method series. So far, we have covered the chemical method of sterilization, that is the evaluation of efficiency of the sterilization method. We have completed the chemical methods. Okay, and this is the part 10 video. So I request you to go by all the part 9 videos 1 to 9 and watch this video, because in this video we are now going to cover the evaluation of efficiency of the sterilization method, and yes, the physical methods. And in physical methods we will give our emphasis on the moist heat sterilization. So let's start. Yes, the evaluation of efficiency of sterilization methods, the physical methods, the moist heat. I hope you remembered about the moist heat sterilization process, and we have divided the moist heat into 3 parts, that is at 100 degrees Celsius, above 100 degrees Celsius, and below 100 degrees Celsius. So for determination of its evaluation of the efficiency of the sterilization of the moist heat method, we use different type of thermocouples. Then there is a term that is known as the Brown tubes. Okay, then Bacillus stereothermophilus spores, and the last one is the autoclave tape. So we will do these 4 components in the evaluation of the efficiency methods of the moist heat sterilization. So we will start with the thermocouples. So thermocouples, I think you have heard this name before, that is the thermocouples. So these are basically used for determination of the temperature inside the autoclave. Please see this. These type of thermocouples, they are fitted inside your autoclaves. Okay. These are the various diagrams, photographs of the thermocouples that is inside the autoclaves. So basically these thermocouples are used for determination of temperature inside the autoclave. And of course, the sterilization is considered to be proper if a particular standard temperature is reached inside the autoclave. So there is a system of auto cut. When that particular temperature is, we will set the particular temperature. First of all, we will have to on the autoclave and we will set the particular temperature. And if the particular temperature is increased, it is achieved, basically the autoclave start auto cut. So it stops, it becomes static at this particular temperature. So here it is the function of the thermocouples. They can be used for determination of the temperature inside your autoclave. So next is the Brown tubes. So these tubes are placed inside the autoclave along with your other articles or sample that is to be sterilized. And basically these tubes are red in color, which turns green when the temperature inside the autoclave reaches 121 degrees Celsius. And this will help in determining the proper sterilization of the articles. Okay. So this BROWNE, Brown tubes. So these tubes consist of a sealed glass tube which contain a red fluid, which may be an ester and acid base indicator. So basically these tubes contain an indicator that particularly changes to different color, that is yellow, brown, and finally to green upon heating. So this will help us in the monitoring of our process inside the moist heat sterilization. Just see this. First of all, red fluid is added. Red fluid is in the brownie tubes, and then slightly it changes it ultimately to the green color. Okay, this is very simple. So next is the autoclave tape. It is a tape. It is a lead carbonate based tape which changes its color when exposed to 121 degrees Celsius in the autoclave. Just see this image. These are the images of the lead carbonate autoclave tapes. This is autoclave indicator. It is the simple tape. Okay, so basically what happened? These tapes changes its color when exposed to 121 degrees Celsius in the autoclave. So that will give us a particular idea about our articles that to be sterilized. So next one is the, yes, it is a Bacillus stereothermophilus spore. So it is a bacteria. See this bacteria, Bacillus stereothermophilus. Yes, you are wondering why I am showing you the picture of this hot spring. Get this, people were taking bath in the hot spring because we found this bacteria, Bacillus stereothermophilus, which is a rod-shaped gram-positive bacteria, and it is widely found in the soils, hot springs, ocean sediment, etc. So let's see. Basically, this Bacillus stereothermophilus spores, it requires exposure up to 121 degrees Celsius for at least 12 minutes to kill these spores. And we have different paper strips that are having 10 raised to power 6 spores are placed inside an envelope and then in an autoclave. So what happened after the autoclaving of the articles, these strips are then inoculated in the culture media and proper sterilization is determined if there is no growth of these spores in the particular culture media. So very simple procedure. So what happened? So what we will do, we will use these some strips, paper strips that contain these spores, and what we will do, we will kept inside, well, we can place inside an envelope. We will put this plate inside an envelope and then into the autoclave where we have to sterilize our articles, and then after the particular procedure, that is 121 degrees Celsius for at least 12 minutes, we will then take out our these paper strips and inoculate these strips in a particular media. And if we found no growth of these spores, then it means our sterilization is efficacious enough to kill that particular bacteria, means sterilization is efficient process. Okay, so this is our aim. We have to determine the efficiency of the evaluation of the moist heat sterilization by this method, that is the Bacillus stereothermophilus spores. So I hope this is clear now, very simple. So we have completed, yes, we have completed what? Evaluation of the efficiency of the sterilization methods, chemicals, as well as the physical methods, and in physical methods we have completed the moist heat, that is using the thermocouples, Brownie tubes, Bacillus stereothermophilus spores, and of course autoclave tapes. So this is all about our this unit, this topic, that is the evaluation of the efficiency of the sterilization method. Remember this is the part 10 video, I think. So do watch all the videos, and we have completed this. So thank you for your patience and listening. Of course, these are the references that I have used to prepare this video. Last but not the least, I thank all the resources that I have used to prepare this video, and do not share this video in any platform. So once again, thank you for your patience and listening. So we will do the disinfection part, that is the classification of the disinfectants and the factor-affecting disinfectant, in the next video, and that too from the unit number 3. So do watch my previous video, because I have told you earlier we will now do unit number 3 simultaneously with the unit number 2, because some of the topics of unit number 3 are familiar, are related with the unit number 2, that is the sterilization part. So thank you.